There is significance in these images. They may not look too significant. After all, they are just computer screenshots. 2 words: design aesthetics. They shape the way we experience the internet, media, interior design, architecture, and more. Many people overlook or don't care for the aesthetics of websites, user interfaces, and such, especially when they do not look too aesthetically pleasing or unique. The internet was officially born on 1983, but there was a little something in the 70s called the ARPANET, which allowed users to share info like emails without the use of phones, fax machines, etc. Why do I bring this up? Because this was the internet before the internet, so I'm gonna mention how it looked. It looks primitive, obviously. Green pixelated text on a black screen, and that was basically what it had to offer. These computers had other colors like white, but were rare and the majority of them had green as their text color, which is where the stereotypical hacker look came from. Even when the internet was born, this was still the style. In the 80s, an aesthetic called Memphis was created. The aesthetic used colorful geometric shapes for a playful interior design, but it was mostly seen in children's TV show sets. It influenced public interior design and mall design, as well as promotional material, posters, album covers, etc. Memphis also shaped the evolution when the internet changed in 1995 with the release of Windows 95, which brought easy-to-understand user interfaces to everyone. User interfaces evolved from basic black screens and green text of 70s/80s computers to visually appealing tabs and windows. This was achieved by skeuomorphism, which mimics real-world objects like this recycling bin, folders, files, and windows to create a familiar interface. 90s websites, though not very visually appealing, used the Memphis style and had a lot of charm. Personal websites were common and captured the essence of how people experienced the internet during that time. Big companies also adopted the chaotic but charming graphic design style, as seen on websites like McDonald's, Domino's, KFC, Apple, and even the still active Space Jam website from the 90s. A lot of these websites had low quality images, lots of color, and these beautiful GIFs. After Memphis died down, a design aesthetic called Y2K was created. This was a futuristic aesthetic popular in the late 90s/early 2000s, characterized by metallic, shiny surfaces, gradients, CGI, and consistent color palettes, featuring lighter shades of blue, white, chrome, light gray, and green. Unlike Memphis, Y2K wasn't too colorful or chaotic. Y2K was an aesthetic best described as the future in the lens of someone from the late 90s/early 2000s. It featured space a lot, and futuristic technology. It also had these distinctive fonts. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For some reason, these encapsulate Y2K perfectly. Skeuomorphism also evolved to fit the aesthetic. Y2K hit an era when personal websites were becoming less common and when graphic designers started to know what they were doing, which was kind of a letdown for personal websites, but there were still many using this aesthetic. Y2K gave rise to a subgenre called chromecore, which focused more on the metallic surfaces and was closely related to the overall Y2K aesthetic. The Y2K aesthetic was not named until the Y2K problem arose in 1999 through 2000. This mass hysteria occurred due to concerns that formatting and storing calendar data for dates after 2000 would cause major problems. However, the worst case scenario, which is that the internet would crash, did not happen, and people moved on. The name Y2K was fitting for an aesthetic because it spanned from the late 90s to the mid 2000s, representing the transition from the 20th to the 21st century. After Y2K, both the aesthetic and time period, the aesthetic evolved into what is known as Fruitiger era. It was the true successor to Y2K. It took a lot of the elements from Y2K and updated them to be slicker. Fruitiger era had simpler look with glossy surfaces. smooth gradients, and real-world elements like nature, water, bubbles, auroras, aka the northern lights, and it also used a variety of colors such as blue, green, yellow, white, silver, orange, and fuchsia. Frutiger Aero was widely used in technology, particularly in Windows and macOS computers, media, and architecture. It gained popularity through the iPhone, created by Apple in 2007. It was the first smartphone, and which utilized Frutiger Aero and popularized skeuomorphism. Androids also began using Frutiger Aero. It had subgenres like Frutiger Metro, which was flatter and more minimalistic, and Frutiger Echo, which emphasized nature and eco-friendly imagery. Websites in that era had a corporate yet not boring look and were less messy than in the 90s. It was the perfect balance. Frutiger Aero was popular from 2004 to 2012 and remains my favorite design aesthetic. Frutiger Aero has a special place in my heart as I grew up with it. It was always around me, even before I was born, but I never realized it had a name or that it was so prevalent. It spanned from advertising to games. I have fond memories of playing games like Wii Sports, Mario Kart Wii, and Super Mario Galaxy. And only recently realized that they all have a Frutiger Aero style. It's 2013. Frutiger Aero disappeared and a new design style called flat design emerged. It's plain and dull, and its name reflects that. It's corporate looking, with minimalistic and organized visuals, featuring objects that mostly consist of one color and no gradients. The key colors are desaturated, such as white, light gray, light blue, and light green. Many websites, media, and logos have adopted this style, losing their vibrant appeal. Flat design even got rid of skeuomorphism, replacing realistic icons with oversimplified ones. Flat design has a subgenre called corporate Memphis that aims to make big businesses look cool. It features colorful, flat vector art of people, but lacks personality, and comes off as lifeless. These people look lifeless, like blobs. Corporate Memphis tries so hard, yet it expresses nothing. While the colors are better than plain websites, design aesthetics in general are declining in both media and the internet. Instead of using boring aesthetics, I hope past styles like Frutiger Aero will make a comeback, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In a world where art is basic and modern, we need a new renaissance. Thanks for watching.